Hi, you're in class with Dr. T.
Today, we will examine Charles Blow's proposal for Black migration, a nuanced approach to political and economic opportunity. In The Devil You Know, a Black Power Manifesto, a book published by Charles M. Blow in 2021, Blow outlines a provocative vision. He argues African Americans should organize a deliberate reverse Great Migration to key Southern states to consolidate political power. His argument posits that such a move could reclaim and redefine the South's socio-political landscape, allowing Black Americans to influence in areas that have historically resisted racial equity. While Blow's proposal is compelling and rich with potential, it requires a critical analysis of its underlying assumptions, especially regarding economic realities and governance structures. Blow emphasizes the potential for racial solidarity in Black-led governance to transform the South. I support Blow's overarching call for collective action and empowerment, but argue actually Blacks should perhaps leave the deep Black South for other states that have the potential for real social economic change. Political power alone is insufficient. Meaningful progress depends on integrating class-conscious policies that prioritize the African American working class and marginalized communities broadly. This requires moving beyond a racial solidarity framework to embrace an inclusive pro-worker agenda. Blow's focus on racial solidarity in Black governance is inspiring, yet history cautions against assuming that racial homogeneity in leadership guarantees equitable outcomes. Black leaders, like leaders of any racial group, can advance policies that fail to benefit marginalized communities or reinforce systematic inequalities. For instance, governance shaped by capitalist priorities or authoritarian tendencies risk exacerbating disparities within Black communities rather than addressing them. To address these challenges, governments must adopt a class-conscious lens that would benefit the working class needs of African Americans. This approach prioritizes access to quality jobs, healthcare, housing, and education while addressing systematic inequities that are cut across racial lines. A focus on universal policies such as labor protections and affordable healthcare, coupled with an explicit commitment to anti-racism, ensures that governance serves all marginalized communities. Without this integration, Black political power risks reproducing inequalities under the guise of progress. States like North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Texas illustrate the potential for Blow's migration strategy to succeed when aligned with economic opportunity. Cities such as Atlanta, Charlotte, and Austin have become hubs of economic activity, boasting thriving industries and growing professional networks. These areas have witnessed significant growth in Black-owned businesses, which forces a supportive ecosystem for entrepreneurship and economic mobility. The political climate in these states also offers opportunities for influence. Georgia's transformation in recent elections, driven by Black-led voter mobilization efforts, highlights the power and potential of concentrated action in politically competitive states. Similarly, the demographic shifts in Texas and Florida signal the potential for long-term progressive gains. In other words, this may not happen in the next election cycle, but with the right focus on economics, these states provide fertile ground for consolidating not only Black political power, but economic power for working class folk, we can forge cross-racial alliances that bolster working class interests. While Blows emphasizes racial solidarity, I advocate for a broader coalition building strategy grounded in polycultural, anti-racist, and pro-worker values. Building alliances with Latinos, Asian Americans, indigenous, and working class white communities in diverse states can amplify efforts to achieve systematic change. As Robin D.G. Kelley notes in his book, Freedom Dreams, transformative movements must transcend racial divisions to build a shared vision for human rights and justice. Blows' proposal for a reverse migration to the South is an important call in action, but its success depends on critical recalibration. Rather than focusing on economically stagnant states, I love Mississippi, I love Alabama, I love Arkansas, but as long as those states remain in backwards political, ideological ideas, there's no future there. African Americans should leave those states, and they should target regions that offer cultural significance, but also economic viability. States like North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Texas present opportunities. I'm not saying this will be easy, but they offer political possibilities, particularly if African Americans were organized to leave those states. They could create sustainable pathways for progress. This approach does not diminish the importance of Black political agency, but recognizes that enduring change requires structural reform that benefits all working class communities. We should not allow ourselves to be divided and conquered. We must focus on coalition building. We must focus on universal health care, labor protections, and affordable housing, framed through an anti-racist lens. This can build solidarity while addressing the unique challenges faced by African Americans. Moreover, Black governments must be coupled with a class consciousness agenda that centers on the working class and marginalized communities. By moving beyond racial solidarity to embrace polycultural coalitions and universal rights, this strategy can foster a transformative movement that uplifts not just African Americans, but all people oppressed by systematic inequalities. This nuanced approach respects the spirits of Blows' vision while adapting it to the complexities of the contemporary economic and political realities we all face. Thank you.